What does a silent witness hide? What secrets remain locked within walls that have seen everything but can never speak? In the quiet town of Villisca, Iowa, there stands an ordinary-looking white house. Its porch is small. Its windows are plain. From the outside, nothing suggests horror. Yet this house is not just wood and nails. It is a witness, silent, unmoving, to one of the most disturbing unsolved crimes in American history. The Villisca Axe Murder House. On a warm summer night in June 1912, this house watched its doors close. It watched the lights went out. It listened as footsteps faded and the town fell asleep. Nothing appeared out of place. No cries. No alarms. No sign that anything was wrong. By morning, the house would be silent in a way it had never been before. On the morning of June 10, 1912, 8 people were found dead inside this house. By the end of that day, the town of Villisca would be gripped by fear, a fear that would never fully disappear. The victims were not strangers. They were a family everyone in town knew. Josiah Moore was 43. His wife Sarah was 39. Together they were raising 4 children: 11-year-old Herman, 10-year-old Mary Catherine, 7-year-old Arthur, and 5-year-old Paul. By all accounts, the Moore family was prosperous, respected, and deeply trusted within the community. On Sunday, June 9, 1912. The house was fuller than usual. Mary Catherine had invited 2 friends, 8-year-old Ina May and 11-year-old Lena Stillinger, to spend the night. There was nothing unusual about this. Sleepovers were common. Villisca was considered safe. That evening, the entire group attended the local Presbyterian church. It was Children's Day, a celebration. Songs were sung, parents smiled, and Sarah Moore, the mother of the family, had helped organize the program herself. When the service ended at 9:30 p.m., the families walked home together. The streets were quiet. Lamps glowed softly in the distance. By somewhere between 9:45 and 10 o'clock that night, everyone was inside the Moore house. No one reported anything unusual. No arguments, no raised voices, no sense of danger. Just an ordinary home on an ordinary summer night, right before everything ended. The next morning, June 10, 1912, the town of Villisca began its day as usual. But at 7 a.m., something felt wrong. Mary Peckham, a neighbor of the Moore family, noticed something strange. The house was silent. No doors opening. No children outside. No one tending to the morning chores. For a family that followed routine so closely, this silence was unusual. Mary walked to the house and knocked on the front door. There was no answer. She tried the handle. It was locked. Trying not to panic, she called Josiah Moore's brother, Ross Moore. When Ross arrived, he knocked. He shouted. Still, no response. Ross had a copy of the house key. He unlocked the front door and stepped inside, alone. Mary Peckham remained on the porch. She did not enter the house. Inside, Ross walked into the parlor and opened the door to the guest bedroom. On the bed, he saw the bodies of 2 young girls, Ina May and Lena Stillinger. Ross did not continue searching. He immediately told Mary to call Henry "Hank" Horton, the town's primary peace officer. When Horton arrived and searched the house, the full horror became clear. Every member of the Moore family, along with the 2 visiting girls, had been beaten to death. The murder weapon was found inside the house. An axe. T belonged to Josiah Moore, and it was discovered in the same guest room where the Stillinger sisters lay. By mid-morning, the quiet town of Villisca was facing a nightmare it would never escape. Doctors later concluded that the murders took place sometime between midnight and 5 a.m. At some point during the night, someone entered the house while everyone was asleep. According to early investigators, evidence suggested that the killer may have waited quietly in the attic, patiently listening, until the house fell completely silent. However, modern researchers would later question whether that evidence truly existed at all. What is certain is where the attack began. The first room was the master bedroom. Josiah and Sarah Moore were asleep in their bed. Josiah Moore was struck repeatedly. Investigators later noted that he suffered more blows than any other victim. A deep mark was found in the ceiling above the bed, evidence of the force used when the axe was raised. Sarah Moore was attacked next. The blade of the axe was used on her. On the others, the blunt end. One by one, the children were killed in their beds. Herman, Mary Catherine, Arthur, Paul. Afterwards, the killer returned to the master bedroom. If the first attack had not been enough, a shoe was knocked over, later found filled with blood from the earlier assault. Then, the killer went downstairs to the guest bedroom, where Ina May and Lena Stillinger were sleeping. When it was over, something even stranger happened. A slab of bacon was taken from the icebox and placed beside the axe. Food remained untouched on the kitchen table, and nearby, a bowl of water stained with blood. Nothing had been stolen, no signs of panic, no clear motive, only silence and time. Despite the scale of the tragedy, the case quickly fell apart. Evidence was mishandled. The crime scene was contaminated by curious onlookers walking freely through the rooms. Suspects came and went. Accusations were made, then quietly forgotten. And through it all, the house remained. It saw investigators argue. It heard theories whispered. It watched justice slip away. Several suspects were named over the years. A traveling preacher, local townspeople, strangers passing through town. One man was even brought to trial, only to be acquitted. No one was ever convicted. The house kept its silence. Today, many believe the house remembers more than we think. Visitors describe a heavy feeling the moment they step inside. Some claim doors move on their own. Others report footsteps where no one stands. Children's voices. Sudden cold spots. A sense of being watched. Skeptics say it's imagination. Believers say it's memory. If trauma can leave a mark on the human mind, could it also leave one on a place? Could the walls have absorbed fear, pain, and final breaths? The house does not answer. One of the most haunting questions remains: was the house truly the only witness? The murders happened in a small town, in a time when doors were often unlocked and neighbors knew one another's routines. Someone may have seen something: a shadow moving through the street, a stranger leaving town at dawn, a sound that felt wrong but was ignored. What if someone knew and stayed silent? Fear has a way of closing mouths. Guilt can last a lifetime. And time has a way of burying truths so deep that even those who hold them no longer know how to speak. Perhaps the house is not alone in its silence. More than 100 years have passed. Generations have come and gone. Those who lived in Villisca in 1912 are no longer here. If the truth was ever spoken in private, it may have died with them. Yet the questions remain. Who entered the house that night? Why were the curtains drawn? Why were mirrors covered? Why were some victims moved? The house knows, but it does not tell. So we return to the question: will the truth ever be revealed? Perhaps not through documents or confessions. Perhaps not through science or technology. Some mysteries are not meant to be solved. They are meant to be remembered. The Villisca house still stands. It does not collapse. It does not disappear. It waits. A silent witness to a summer night in 1912. A keeper of secrets locked behind wooden doors. A reminder that sometimes the past does not want to be uncovered. And as long as the house stands, the question remains, what does the silent witness hide?